Good evening and welcome to the October 4th, 2021 meeting of the Reston Community Center Board of Governors. We have lovely music to underscore us tonight. The first order of business is approval of the agenda.
Second.
In the agenda, at the committee report section, we had another bullet at the end of that for the brief informal report from the preference poll committee.
Already been taken care of.
Well,
Okay, it's not on mine.
Okay.
It's not on mine.
Okay.
But, okay, thank you.
Do you have it?
Yeah, it's two separate things. He had another edit that has been made, and this is
Okay.
just like a verbal thing.
It's just an addition
Gonna
to
talk
the
about it.
agenda.
Okay, so when you
We're
get
good.
my page, you'll get it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
So,
Okay, so there's approval of the agenda with that addition.
all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Those opposed? I'm still thinking about the mutts on that. Okay, and next order of business is the approval of the board member minutes, September 13th.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I abstain.
I abstain.
2 abstentions. Next order of business is the approval of the board actions for September 13th.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And the same 2 abstentions. Next order of business is the chair's remarks. I just heard of a friend who died from COVID. And until we really find out everything, we think she didn't get vaccinated. So that's depressing. You're using the sun as a metaphor for deliverance, I guess. This is by Lisa Marks. When everything's darkness and you feel so alone, when the rain doesn't stop, when you can't make it home, when it feels all is lost and you just want to run, it can't rain forever. Just wait for the sun. When family is pain, when friends can't be found, when you just want to scream but you can't find the sound, when it's all your fault and you feel like you're done, just wait for the sun. The sunshine will come. The storm always passes. It won't last forever. The rain always stops and gives way to good weather. The brightest and warmest of days still to come. Please wait for the sun. The sunshine will come. People who need you, people who still love you, can warm up your soul like the sunshine above you. You're never alone, no matter what's done. Wait for the sun. Just wait for the sun. Dark clouds always pass. I promise you, hon. We're all waiting with you. Just wait for the sun. Next order of business is introduction of visitors. And there are no visitors and no citizen input. Sidebar.
If you'd like.
Since we have no visitors and no citizen input. And we have someone with us tonight who will soon be a citizen outside of our family. We would like to say that we're gonna miss you. And is there anything you'd like to say to us? Good riddance, I'm getting out of here.
Absolutely not, no. I'm gonna miss you all. I mean, I've explained to Lila that it's just amazing the family that she's put together here in terms of staff and working with the Board of Governors. It's just an awesome experience. These last 3 years have been a lot of fun. And I've told her this too. I learned a heck of a lot from Lila as well. And I will probably be poking her for some ideas and what have you, because she's the absolute best.
Well, John, there are a certain number of shenanigans that are planned for you, that you're not gone yet, but the board and I wanted
Oh,
to
thank you. This
give
is
a small remembrance of our fondness for you,
well, thanks, y'all.
and to thank you for everything that you've done for RCC. Been a
Fun.
considerable support for the agency, and particularly during the tremendous joy of the aquatics renovation project. And I really appreciate your diligent pursuit of solar panels, which hopefully before the sun is gone, we will get. And the many other projects, not quite as vast and expansive as the renovation projects, but I think our capital project planning has become much more predictable and quantifiable and easy to access in terms of staff being able to check on it and be able to use the kind of software tool that we want to be able to use for managing our facilities. And the joy that you bring to your work has been palpable every day, and the staff has greatly appreciated it. And
I love public service. I'm crazy. I just love it. For some reason, it invigorates me. You know, I just like dealing with people and talking to people, and even the problem situations. It's kind of fun at times. At times, to deal with those as well. But you know, it's all of the things that we've accomplished as a unit is a reflection of the staff that you've assembled here. My goodness, you've got some. And this is Bill will know this reference. It's a Dick Vitale reference. You got prime time players here. These guys and gals are the best.
Well, thank you. You've certainly been among them. Appreciate it greatly.
And if you want to come home,
That's right.
We have a saying here.
we
that
have a thing. We
You
have a
can check
revolving
out,
door.
but you can never actually leave. So, you want to say goodbye, we'll say see you soon.
That's right.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Next order of business is the committee reports. September 13 Long Range Planning Committee. Mr. Booter.
And since I was not here, Lisa, would you please do?
Yes, I will repeat, how much you want to give you all this. It was, as always, I think our meetings were very productive, and we met on September 13th, so it wasn't too long ago. It seems like forever. But we went over the strategic plan that the community center has set up for the next coming years. We have a report that is, you said 3 full pages and then some. The key aspects of it, and my apologies because I got a call before it, but the key aspects that needed some changing and editing on the mission values, the mission, vision, and values section. So please be aware, pay attention to that. And sticking with our plans as a community center and how much we serve the community. It's really important that we are succinct with these words and they're exact for what the Reston Community Center stands for. We're back here to the beginning. there are little addendums, they're not called addendums, my apologies, on page 3, 4, and 5, there are some changes that were made by the committee that we felt were pertinent to change, and you can find those on the different pages. They were, I would say a specific verbiage we thought was very important, that the words be exactly as what we mean, so there's no vagueness in this. So they were showing you the changes that were made, and we were all in favor of made a decision that night, follow all the things that we serve and do as a community center. No major edits that took place overall.
So we circulated the draft 3 that you approved at the September 13 meeting.
Thank you.
It incorporated an edit from Dick to make shorter sentences in that introductory area of the background to how the plan was put together. And one further edit to similarly break up a long sentence. So it is the board's task tonight to formally adopt the 2021 to 2026 strategic plan as presented and amended.
So moved.
Thank you for that. I was trying to put it together. So everyone read it, that's what's changed, so we have to make the vote tonight.
Yes, so moved, I move that we approve the RCC 2021 to 2026 strategic plan as presented and amended.
Second.
And moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
And we will make it beautiful. It will be used now going forward as the principal document for the annual strategic planning conversation in January. So one change we did make was to put the some of the measuring criteria that would demonstrate reaching these objectives in with each one of the plan sections, so that should be easier to track and follow from year to year as that document is updated. It becomes a living document, and we will continue to adapt it as we need to.
Is the strategic plan kind of forwarded to the Board of Supervisors, or?
It's sent to Supervisor Alcorn. We don't distribute it to the entire board of supervisors, but certainly Supervisor Alcorn will get it as soon as it's
So it's not like the
formatted.
budget?
I think also we will be working with his office to schedule the conversation. We annually have a conversation with the Hunter Mill District Supervisor in November, and it will be certainly a topic for that meeting as well.
Okay. Next order of business is the September 27th Finance Committee meeting.
I won't go through all of the details that are printed for you there. Just a few highlights. Basically, things are pretty well on schedule, but that doesn't mean that we just sort of take everything and divide it by 12 or whatever, because things are more complex than that. Tax revenues are at about 50% of where they should be in terms of actually collections, which is about where we expect to be at this point. Some of the, especially operating expenses, already a bunch of POs have been put in that encumber money out of proportion to sort of 1/12 or 1/10 as you might expect, and those will be sort of spent down as we go through. So there's some sort of things that don't look exactly as you might expect them to. If what you're expecting is for everything to be about, 1/12 to 1/10, that's the things that are varying, by and large, we expect them to be varying exactly like that, because they do that every year. So in terms of sort of that stuff, that's going on pretty well. The aquatic stuff should be ramping down very soon, and we will be getting the remainder of the money back into the fund balance once everything gets completely closed out later this month, is the expectation. Just a reminder from the previous meeting, already $750,000 has been returned to the fund. And so we're looking for more than that. So another 100,000 maybe a little bit more. You know, we'll see how much it ends up being once all of the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed. We also submitted the memoranda to the Board of Supervisors. And so you can see that stuff is in there for the carryover.
We
and-
will,
We will be, I'm sorry, will be, because
You reviewed them.
we reviewed all of those things, have it all teed up. We will be voting on that today. You know, it's funny because the letter refers to today in the past tense, even though when we were talking about it, it was actually the future tense. But yeah, so we will sign off on that. That'll be the big thing that we vote on after this report. Any other things any questions people have on the Finance Committee stuff?
I think you can see that if you look at this present fund balance, just a couple of reminders, it's not the last version of the fund statement that you'll see, because there will be changes once the aquatics project closes out. But as you can see, our reserves are fully funded. And so for anyone who thought perhaps that the aquatics project was too big a budget obligation to take on, I think the prudence with which that was undertaken and managed has borne out, and we're in excellent fiscal shape.
And that information is available to the public, Laura?
It sure
You can
is.
find that, you know, that
Yeah.
we are covered that, and the
That's right.
budget was followed. Good,
Yeah.
that's really important.
That's right. Any other comments or questions? Alrighty, so I move that we approve the RCC fiscal year 23 budget submission and transmittal memoranda as presented.
Second.
Been moved in second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so I need to sign it.
Yes. This one. And this one. Do you want to use black? I'm sure the Department of Management and Budget will
Yeah,
appreciate
not
the
very,
artistic
serious.
flair.
Okay, thank you. Done and done. Next order of business is an informal preference poll committee update from Mr. Thomas.
Thank you.
Who won?
So just a quick update. The preference poll voting has closed, and a total of 1,660 votes were cast.
Ballots.
Ballots were cast, and we have almost exactly half of them were from 20191. So share from my home zip code. And then moving forward, just I think the last things that need to be done. First of all, that stuff needs to be sent off to Supervisor Alcorn, because of course the appointment is actually made by the Board of Supervisors, so that needs to go through sort of that process. And then the last thing that the committee has to do really is come up with some recommendations, so we have sort of a summary memo, if you will, at the end for things for us to consider. One of the things that we might consider, for instance, is do we want to tweak any of our processes if and when we have an uncontested election, preference poll. So we just sort of want to look and see if there are any tweaks that we want to make to the process.
Has
And
that ever, how often has that happened before?
Pretty
I'd
frequently.
say about half the time
Yeah.
that I've done.
Yeah.
So it's not brand new, you know,
No.
so
No.
we've been through this before.
Oh.
And we would have to,
It's
I mean, the only reason to give it some thought is because of the continuing challenge of print materials, the cost of printing, and most especially the uncertainty about the delivery of first-class mail and the increasing cost of first-class mail. So where there's no contest, are there options, and I,
To avoid the cost.
Right.
to avoid that. So, you know, I'm going to just check with our assigned Office of the County Attorney to see if there's any wiggle room in the MOU with respect to, I'm confident the MOU and our bylaws require that we conduct a preference poll, but it doesn't go into detail other than to assign a vote per household about the method and means of the poll. So we'll give some thought to whether or not we can reduce the cost. It
Right.
certainly could be substantially reduced, and the time constraints of the mailing process could be alleviated if we didn't have to print the massive amount of words that we have to print. If we sent a postcard that said to each household, you know, it's time to vote.
Here's your code.
Here's your code. And,
Or come on in and still vote on site.
or on site, or what have you, I don't know. So those are sort of the ideas I would like to
Makes sense.
ask the board.
How much was the cost?
Oh, I don't know, it's typically between $25,000 and $30,000 a year,
It's usually about printing.
all in for.
Yeah, it's usually about
Printing.
9 to 12 for the printing and 12 for postage.
And then we run advertising, and there are posters that we create, and we pay the League of Women Voters. The cost of Yes Elections is several $1,000s, so it's not cheap.
So we still have the cost of yes, probably.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We would, I mean, we would just have to, I just wanna ask the question
It's a good question.
about how much flexibility we have in terms of developing some more efficient strategies in years where we have no opposition for the, and we have sufficient candidates to fill the 3 seats.
And my guess, just based on what Karen was just saying, maybe we're looking at saving $10,000, which I know, given the size of our budget, doesn't seem monumental, but every dollar counts, and if there's really not a lot of money. I mean, yeah. So it's
Well,
all
I
the pros
think
and
it's
cons.
also a way to say to the community that we're actually paying attention
Right.
to the cost and looking for ways to, I mean, that money can be spent on other things that have equal value to the participation in the polls.
And so has there been a time when there were not enough candidates to fill the seats, and how was that handled?
To my knowledge, no.
No, okay.
Since 1984, I think
Right,
was
so-
the first year.
Yeah.
I think we've always had sufficient candidates to fill the
Yeah.
available seats.
I think it makes sense if it's uncontested to
Mhm.
streamline the process.
But we'll find out if we can,
Mhm.
Yeah.
in any case. And then
Thank
I'll disseminate that information to.
Well, and probably downstream of that, we'll schedule another preference poll committee meeting that after you have clarification on that, and then we can discuss, write up whatever
Right.
sort of memorandum, whatever we want to bring to the board, hopefully for the next board meeting.
Right. Yeah, because typically the preference poll committee report is the last activity of this board year, and then the transition to the new board year occurs.
But the appointment by the Board of Supervisors.
Well, it's possible that Walter could take care of this tomorrow. That would be the soonest
Really?
that it would happen. But then he also has October 19th to make the appointment as well. Those are the 2 Board of Supervisor meeting dates.
I recall that typically it is that.
It's been in the past
No.
that the case that it takes a couple days to alert the county staff that prepare the board packages and what have you. But, you know, I don't want to say never, because as soon as I say never,
Right.
something else happens that isn't in that category.
And they are more digital now than they were. in
They're just,
previous
I
years.
think they're just I think the fact is that they're more flexible about individual board member appointments than they may have been in the past. So, we'll see.
Other questions or comments on the preference poll process?
I'm sure that we will open it up for comment from the public as well whenever the committee does consider what.
Well, I mean, not any more than to the extent of posting our meeting schedule. It's not something we
Yeah.
would, I mean, I think, we can have a good discussion here about,
Okay.
and who knows? I mean, I don't know, I have no idea what the Office of the County Attorney will say about
Right.
having alternative methodologies.
Sure.
So, but I just want to do the research, and if it's feasible, bring the information forward.
Okay, so that's it for my report. Nothing to vote on here.
Okay. Next order of business is the board member,
No approval of the committee.
oh, we have to,
Hmm?
oh, that's true.
Well, we already, oh, that's right, we have to.
Passed
approve the
your
committee
motions.
reports.
Now you
we
just
did
have to
that.
accept the
Now we have to
reports.
approve the committee reports.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
So much reporting.
Yes. Okay, the next is the input of board members on activities attended. Starting with Mr. Hill.
Mostly missed recent meetings here because of task force meetings, which coincide with these. I went to the Cornerstone Gala, which was very nice, with a lovely speech by one Lila Gordon. And I voted. I voted in the preference poll, and I voted early. Everybody should vote early. That's it.
Seems like I've done a fair amount actually this month. There was the Multicultural Festival, which was just great, as it always is. But it was nice because there wasn't one last year, and this was super. And then the Cornerstones, the various committee meetings, and went just last night, the night before, I went to see the Seldom Scene at the center stage, and both Mary and I enjoyed that very much. And it's just so great to have that center stage working and full, and I think that's wonderful.
Great.
I attended the Multicultural Festival on a beautiful, beautiful day. The weather was certainly a big help, as well as just the diversity of the audience was just kind of a beautiful sight to see. And the Cornerstones event was wonderful, and the amount of money they raised was significant, which I think is a tribute to this community. That's about it.
All right, my second, when Vicki said, attended the Multicultural Festival, it's always so, to me, very exciting and warming to see the diversity of the crowd. I mean, just from little kids up to senior neighbors, just love it. There's a lot of energy, and people just really seem to have a good time. People wear masks, they follow the rules. It was just really great. The ceremony, even though we did not have a nationalization ceremony, the speakers, I think, said a lot about what Reston's about, and particularly in this place and time where we are, is Reston, I think, is a leader about what things can be. We're not perfect, but we're really striving for it. We're an inclusive community when so many communities are turning people away, and it's really important to see that. People are out, so it was really, really fun. I got to do a little bit of emceeing at the, I would say, the global stage that's out in the parking lot. Transform that parking lot, it doesn't even look like it, but it was phenomenal. Chuck Brown had people dancing from little, it was just really amazing. They want to come back, and we're gonna have back. So it was really neat. I attended that, and also the activities for Cornerstone. 50 years is a lot, and to think about, again, talking about being inclusive, their primary thing, and I forgot to touch on it, but they're the Cornerstone, what was it, Reston Interfaith, it was about housing, affordable housing, when people weren't even talking about that. So it's really important, things, right now, people are hurting, and we need to pay attention, so it was really important to see there. And 20 years for Carrie as a sound, Lila, your speech was phenomenal. And it's just, it feels good to be a part of Reston. A lot of things seem kind of, I enjoy that, and I'll be attending more activities in October. I don't know when, but I look at my calendar and how can this even happen? But so it was a good September.
A lot of reading. A lot
Lots of meetings. Lots of meetings. I voted twice. I did the opening ceremony at Multicultural Festival. God, what else? We, the Park Authority hired its new executive director. And it's our first woman full-time director. And it's certainly our first woman of color. And she is a Restonian that started her career here at the Reston Community Center. So Jay Cole is the new executive director. We're very, very excited. I've gotten over 150 emails, Twitter comments from all over the country. So excited about stepping up and making a really, really tough hire. And we're really excited about it. And then since August, there were 16 Redistricting Commission meetings. We only have one more to go. We finalized our map work last week. There are 36 maps that were sent in from the public, as opposed to 3 that were only submitted in 2011. The demographic changes were somewhat significant in the sense that we are now a majority minority county. The white population dropped 10 points to 47%. The Asian population increased significantly, where they are far and away the largest, second largest group now. And there was a large Hispanic growth as well. But disbursement across the county didn't change a whole lot. So where people are, they remain. They didn't move to different areas. And so subsequently, I don't think you'll see a whole lot of changes in the districting or the mapping. I don't think you'll see maybe a half dozen or more, although there will be recommendations from the commission for 9, 10, and 11 districts, just to be submitted. So we are working on the final transmittal letter that'll go out next week, and our work will be done. And other than that, no.
Other than that, you've done nothing. He's been idle.
Let's see, Finance Committee meeting, the Cornerstones event, and unfortunately I missed the Multicultural Festival because I was being the roadie for the marching band, so, which I was doing again on Saturday, and we'll be doing again in a few weekends, so got plenty of action going on with the marching band.
Sweet. And I, like others, voted in both twice for the RCC and for the statewide elections. It's good to get that done and recorded. I only got to step into the Multicultural Festival before I got contacted about a household emergency I had to go attend to. So the plumber might have been happy, but I was not. But I am looking forward to, in October, going to the Blackest Battle. I still don't think I'll get my husband into a room with so many people in these days, COVID days, but I just gotta go out and enjoy these Reston Community Center offerings without him. Bev, we always pass you by. Did you already tell us everything you did?
I always say it after you.
All right.
After whoever is left. Yes, because I was at the Multicultural Festival. The Finance Committee there. I did another Meet the Artist, and we had an almost audience, physically, actually in the room this time. It was really great.
And online.
And online, I was there.
I was there. Because, see, that's the thing, I wish we could communicate with the online people. For some reason, the people that are right there are so shy, you talk to them and so, but it was, the thing that was interesting was when we left the last since I'm doing these until I can't crawl on the stage anymore, it looks like, I said, we will have, the next show will deal with verses. And there were people in that audience who had been there before. Nobody remembered that.
They failed.
Yes.
Sad students.
Yes, so I felt good because I remembered it. But, and the Cornerstone Celebration and the Seldom Seen, I got to see them the other night too. Next order of business is the Executive Director's report.
So many of the things that are in here, we've discussed. Couple things to note. As you may recall, we're going, every 3 years, every county agency undergoes an internal audit by the Internal Audit Office of the county. And we are winding down our 2021 audit. I anticipate that we'll have a good result, and I'll be able to report on that in November or December. We are seeing a lot of projects that were completed in this year and also the fall maintenance cycle. Notably, our building engineer, Fred Russo, we got an estimate from the Facilities Management Department if they shepherded the project to update our Lake Ann restrooms. The proposal we got was for roughly $90,000 to do that. But Fred, taking a more piecemeal approach by replacing faulty fixtures and doing things one section at a time, was able to bring the entire project in for about $39,000. Which is a substantial savings both over the budget allocation and the proposal we did reject from FMD just because it was way over what we felt we should spend. The community room floor was refinished. The rigging system in the center stage has been replaced. The back parking lot was resurfaced and restriped. And I wanted you to have the analysis. Brian Gannon tracks our utility utilization. And in case anybody wondered if it was a good idea to do the aquatics renovation, on the back of my report is the water usage. You can see
Oh my goodness.
that beginning in 2019, obviously the pool was closed, so we weren't using water. But the water was in the pools throughout 2020. And we anticipate that graph for the calendar year 2020, that 2021 will look very similar, and you can see how substantially we've been able to reduce the use of water. Largely, I have to say, because of the aquatics renovation. We didn't know for sure that the old pool was leaking, but I think this is pretty good evidence that it was. So I just wanted to offer that. In our programs, patron activity is picking up across every program cohort. We're seeing the result of separating the water into 2 different temperature pools is having a tremendously positive impact. You've all mentioned many of the arts and events that have occurred. In our fitness, lifelong learning, youth and teen, and collaboration and outreach efforts, we're seeing increased participation across the board. And we're continuing to offer some hybrid in-person and virtual, and a couple of completely virtual options. So people who preferred that until the entire pandemic has subsided can still take advantage of those. I want to thank all the board members who participated in the Multicultural Festival as MCs. That was really a treat. The staff really enjoyed putting that together and being able to experience it again. And I want to take particular note of Storycatcher Productions and Rebecca Wingert and her work on the short film she created for us for promoting the Multicultural Festival. It's really beautiful. I urge you to go to the YouTube, RCC YouTube channel and check that out. And then I just also want to thank Rebecca because those beautiful videos at the Cornerstones event
Oh, yeah.
were created by
Good job, wow, they
Yeah.
were very, just they're heartwarming.
And I think that those videos are possible because of RCC and other civic organizations in this community, deep investment in the marshaling of all of the historical documentation of the community's history. And that is going to be, as we had imagined it about 10 years ago, a profoundly important archive for not just the organizations that were involved, but for the community as a whole, as things like that commemoration occur and people want to take advantage of that archive, it's there. So many people that were on, I mean, it was hard for me not to just dissolve into tears because so many of the people who made Reston what it is are only with us in spirit now. And to have them on film and to have them, to hear their voices, to feel them present is really, it's a gift. So it goes without saying that we're glad we did it.
More valuable as time goes on.
Yeah.
Next order of business, any old business? No old business, next order of business is new business. At this time, I would like to appoint Vicki Winger and Bill Keefe,
And who?
and Bill Keefe as nominating committee for the 2021-22 board officers. Hearing no objection.
And before you depart tonight, I would like, if you could, just let me know about your availability for the annual Arts Awards event. I have to send that list. It's October 15th. It's at noon. It's in the new CAP Center venue, which is pretty extraordinary and beautiful, so fun to go and see. Because it's not our venue, the venue requirements are the requirements that will attend to it. So the CAP 1 requires you show proof of your vaccination status to attend, and they, like everybody else, will ask people to wear masks if they're not actively eating or drinking, which generally takes about 20 minutes before it just dissolves into nonstop eating and drinking chaos.
So you have mine.
I do have yours, Beth, thank you.
And I'm sure some of you will attend Baby Expo. Okay, well, I guess it's, bye, John. We didn't
Bye,
miss
John.
you.
I'll be here for 2 more weeks.
Oh.
All right.
Keep your hour.
We won't see.
What's today, Monday?
I think a lot is learning about the renaming.
Yeah, get through
of the
Monday,
South
sounds like
Lake Community Center.
Yeah,
Oh, right, that's another, just to remind you all, there is the event on October 16th, on Saturday the 16th,
Right.
for the dedication of the Southgate
Oh,
Community Center,
yes.
and it's
Oh, okay.
renaming to the Kathy Hudgens Community Center.
And that's also Community Day for that.
Yes.
And if you get a chance, a Community Day for the Southgate Community Center, for community. And if you haven't been there, it's a good chance to just go and really see the community. It's not just a display, that is really the essence of how the
fun.
community, it's a fun day and it's just.
Can you remind me what time that is
It's,
on the
well,
16th?
the community days are going all day long, but
Right.
the Kathy ceremony is
2 o'clock.
2.
2 o'clock.
So I think it starts around maybe 11 or between 10 and 11 in the morning. I'm sorry. I don't have
Yeah, that's
the
all right,
exact
that's all right.
date. They do advertise it's on, if you go to their place, they'll show
Sure,
you.
sure.
And,
Ricardo Cabellos, who's the director at Southgate, has taken a position, a promotion that will put him in, near the Sterling community, in charge of a large recreational facility there that, deals a lot with, providing after-school programming for the schools in that neighborhood.
Yeah, he's really amazing, yes, so.
All right. Stay well out there, and we'll see you next month. This meeting is adjourned.